So now we'll be doing two things. We'll create the base of this Flappy Bird and the background. So let's go and create one. Let's create a package. Let's call it game, and here we'll keep all our game related stuff. Let's create one new file. Let's call it base, and here we'll create a class. Let's call it base class. Okay, and let's define a draw method. So whenever it is called, it will draw the base image. And what we'll do is we'll create one floor y. So like if I comment this and run this program, so this is our positive y, and I don't want base to cover the full part, so I want, let's say, something here. So this y index I can create like from the total window height I can configure something like, let's say, 0.85, so that the rest 15% screen will go to the base. So let's give it floor of y is window height into, let's say, 0.85, and let's create the rectangle for now for the base. So we'll use pygame draw dot rectangle, and what it we like it wants one window parameter, like window where it will render the rectangle. Let's call it win for now, we'll pass this later. And then it want like the color, which color we want the base to be, and along with that it want the location where we want the rectangle to be drawn, or we can say the properties of rectangle it want. So window will pass later. Color, let's say we'll create something like soil like color. So let's say the color is going to be 222, 184, and 135. This color I have chosen like previously, which like matches the color of soil somewhat. So for the rectangle, let's say it will start from x0 and floor of y, and then the next two parameter is its like height and width. So let's say its width is going to be window width, because if you want it to cover the full window on the like x direction, and for y direction it's going to be window height minus floor of y. So it will just cover the like bottom part. Okay, now once this is done, let's call this from our main. So once display is created, let's say I create an object of base. Let's call it base. Let's call base dot draw. So it will draw the base. We'll create one more file here. Let's call it util, where we'll have all the utilities. Okay. Here also we'll define one method. Let's say draw window. So basically we'll later put all the drawing operations here. So let's say draw window. For now we'll just draw the background here. So what we are going to do is we'll do pygame dot draw dot rectangle, and again we'll pass window as a parameter, and let's say we want like white screen as background for now, so we'll keep 255, and rectangle we want to like cover everything. So let's say from it will start from 0 to 0, and it will go like window width and window height. Okay, and this win parameter, let's accept it as a parameter here. Okay, and for base also let's accept win as a parameter. Now when we go to main, so here the display that we have set, we can use it, and on this one we can actually draw our stuff. And let's draw the like background also here. Let's pass win. Let's run it and see. There is some issue here. What it's saying, the rectangle argument is invalid. Okay, so what we don't pass it here. It has to be like this. It is like extra 100 that it took. So now let's run it, and there is nothing. So the reason is, whenever we are drawing something, then the display is already set. So whatever we have drawn, it is not updating the display. To render it, we have to call display dot, let's say, update. Okay, let's run it now, and our background and this base has been rendered. Okay, so now that we have the base and the background, let's go ahead and create the bird and the pipe. So we'll go and create new file. Let's say bird, define bird class here. Okay, we'll initialize it. Let's say height and width, I'm going to use fixed size. So this xy I have taken as parameter, so it will define like where our bird is going to be. So let's assign it into self, and then we'll define draw method. Again, it will take window as a parameter, and then we'll use pygame draw rectangle window, and for color let's take something like yellow to 55 and 0. And for rectangle, let's say it will start at self.x and self.y coordinate, and we'll have height and width of, let's say, 10. And then let's create an object of this bird here. So we'll have bird, let's say bird, and it want x and y, where we want to draw it. So let's say we want it at 100 on x direction and 300 on y direction. Then we'll call like bird.draw. Okay, now that we have the bird ready, let's go ahead and create pipe. Okay, here also we'll define class, let's say pipe. Okay, so what we need to draw pipe, so all we want is like where this pipe should come. So we don't want all these parameters, we just want the like x direction where this pipe should come. The y will decide dynamically, different pipe will have different height, and it will be like divided into two part, top, bottom. So those things will calculate actually. So for now let's just keep x, and then define the draw method. It will again take window parameter, and then what we are going to do is we are going to calculate the height of top pipe, like till what point we want that pipe. So what we'll do is, let's say top pipe height, and let's use some random value to decide that, so that it will have some dynamic value. So I'm going to use random for that, random dot random range, and I want it to be something like, let's say, from 50, so that it will have at least height of 50. And then like we have from top 85%, so let's say when height into 0.85, and let's keep 50, at least like 50 should be the height for the bottom, so we'll take that much length. and then let's say between the top pipe and bottom pipe we want some gap, so that much also will reduce, so that the like we'll have at least 50 unit for the bottom pipe. And for pipe gap, let's say we'll create one variable in settings. So for now let's say we'll keep 150 unit. Okay, let's import it and let's convert it to int actually, so that if we multiply it, it should remain int. Yeah. So that now we have pipe height. Let's draw the pipes. So we'll use pygame draw. Again we'll use rectangles for now, and it will draw on the window. And for color, let's take a greenish color. So let's take this one, and where we'll draw it, so it will be like from x direction, it will be on self dot x, and y like it should start from 0, from the like very top, so we'll keep it at 0. And let's remove this width. Let's say we want 30 unit of width, and the height it should have like what we have calculated. Okay, so this is our top pipe. So let's say it is top pipe. Now let's draw the bottom pipe. So bottom pipe, again it will be similar. Let's say pygame draw rectangle, and again it will be drawn on window. We want same color here, it should start at the same position. Now let's define these parameters. Okay, so why where it should be, so we have like this top height here, and then we want to put some like pipe gap, so let's put that thing. And the width we are going to keep like 30, and window height actually we can calculate the height that is remaining, but for now let's give win height, because anyway it is going to down, means it will not be visible if it goes outside windows, so let's keep it like this. In the main, let's draw the pipe now. So we'll use pipe equals to pipe, and let's say I don't want it at 100, let's create it as at let's say 400. Let's call pipe dot draw. Let's pass the window. Anyway, it is updating already, so no need to update again. Let's run it and see. So we have the pipe, we have the bird, we have the background, we have the base. Okay, now let's add some physics to the bird, and let's see it moving. So here I'm going to introduce one new variable here. Let's say tick count. We'll soon see its uses. Let's initialize it with 0. Now we'll have the move function for the bird. Let's call it move, and whenever it moves we'll increase the tick count, and to move it, like we'll calculate the displacement, like how much it should move. Okay, so displacement, we have a simpler formula that we will be using from science. Let's say that's called ut plus half at squared. So it's like u is the velocity that we define, and t is the time, or here we'll refer to the tick count, and half and a is nothing but the gravity. So it will simulate like the gravity is pulling the bird downwards. So we are going to use this formula. So here we need first of all the velocity. So let's define the bird velocity. Bird velocity. So the bird will be trying to move upward, so we'll take the negative value here. Let's say it takes -5, because we have considered like downward is positive, so upward is going to be negative. and here we'll use that bird velocity into self dot tick count plus 0.5. Now we need a, let's say, let's define that, let's call it gravity, and let's define it to be 1.0. Let's multiply it with gravity into self dot tick count square. So this will give us like displacement, how much it has to move. Let's give a maximum displacement, like if the tick count has increased and it keep falling, the speed might like increase too much. So let's give a max cap. So let's say if displacement, let's say, greater than 10, then we are going to use displacement as 10. And second thing is like if displacement is negative, then we don't want to move too fast, so we'll make it like displacement of, let's say, just -2. Okay, now we'll update the self dot y to, like, we'll add the displacement, so whatever direction based on move it decide, the y coordinate of the bird will change. So the bird is not going to move forward or backward, so the x position will remain same where the bird was spawned first, but the y position keep changing, like up or down, it based on it flap or the gravity pulls it. This is pretty much for move. Let's create one method for, let's call jump. So whenever it jumps, all we will do is we'll reset the tick count, so it will become 0, so that the first time it comes, like, it will calculate to be negative and it will try to move like upward. Okay, so pretty much for this bird physics. Okay, now that we have like defined the physics to it, let's see it in action. Let's go to main and let's try to make this bit playable. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll try to make it playable. So we'll first initialize it, draw the window, and let's create one while loop, and let's say while we have running flag, it will keep running, and let's define one running flag. So let's say running is true initially, and here what we'll do is we'll try to capture the events from the pygame, and let's say if the event is like quit, then means if we are quitting the game, we'll just make the running false. Otherwise, if the event type is key down, like if some key is pressed, that event will be captured here, and we'll try to capture the key, which key is pressed. So let's say whenever space, like a space bar is pressed, we want the bird to jump. So what we'll do is we'll make it k space. Whenever a space bar is clicked, we want our bird to jump. So before that, let's create one bird. So we'll like take this bird out from here and define it outside. Okay, so whenever we have this, we'll make the bird jump. Okay, and what else we want? So every time we come in here, we draw everything. So let's say we'll draw these here. Okay, let's remove it from here and let's run it. So the problem here is we have a flickering effect here, but if I press space, nothing happens. Okay, so let's do one more thing. So after jump, like bird will jump, but what we want is we want the bird to move when like it comes here. So we want bird dot move. Okay, Now if we play the game, we don't see the bird because bird has moved and it has fallen. Gravity has pulled it. So what we'll do is we'll add some tick here. Like we'll add a frame so that our game runs slowly. So let's create a clock, and then inside this we'll tick our clock, let's say 10 times a second. If I run it now, you see the bird is going and the gravity is pulling it downward. Okay, now if I run it again, and if I press the space bar, it will keep moving. If I press space, keep moving. If I don't press, it will fall. So the bird is pretty much reacting to the space bar and the gravity. Okay, now we'll add the physics to our pipe. So we'll go to pipe, and let's define one more value here. Let's say pipe velocity. Let's give it value of 5, and we'll define one move method. Define move, and let's say whenever this move method is called, pipe's x position will be reduced by pipe velocity. Okay, now let's go to main, and every time along with bird, let's move the pipe as well. So we have the pipe here, so we'll try to move it and then draw it. So let's say pipe dot move. Now if I run the game, nothing happens. Let's see why. So the reason is nothing happens because we are creating the pipe inside the loop every time. That's why the new pipe is created, and that is actually being drawn and moved. So we'll move it outside loop. Let's define it here, and now if I run it, the pipe is moving, but the problem is the position is changing. Let's see why. So if I go to pipe, you see, let's go to pipe. What is happening here is the draw is actually calculating the height every time it is called. So what we'll do instead is we'll put it into the init method so that it is just initialized once, and same can be used. So we'll put it here and we'll use that. Okay, now if I run it, it should behave properly. Yeah, so bird is falling. I can like press space bar and it will go up, and otherwise it will fall, and the pipe is also moving. Okay, so now we'll basically check for the collision. Like if I run this here now, if you see, even if it crosses the pipe, nothing happens. So we'll try to add this collision detection here now. So we'll go to pipe, and we'll define one method, let's say collide, and it will take, let's say, bird as a parameter. And now let's check if it has like collided. So what we'll do, if bird dot x means the position of x and plus 10 the width of bird, if it is like greater than like x ordinate of pipe, that means it has collided, and bird of x is less than self dot x plus 30. So basically what we are checking is the bird current position is within the range of pipe. Like if our pipe is this area, the bird is within that area. So if bird plus like width of bird has crossed the pipe and it has not exited, so that part will be covered from this position. And what we are going to check is, now we'll check for the x coordinate, so that if bird has like overlapping with the pipe. So we'll check for self dot y is greater than bird dot y. So what it will check is if like the top pipe has like overlapped with the bird, or self dot y plus, let's say, pipe gap, okay, is less than y, or so bird dot y plus 10. uh, this variable, let's correct it, there is some typo here. Okay, so we'll go to the pipe and let's put it into one bracket so that we don't have conflict of calculation. And here also let's remove this and use pipe cap instead. Okay, so now if we have this condition met, means like we'll return true, that means it has collided, otherwise we'll return false. Now let's go to our main and check for collision. So we'll check for, let's say, after we move the pipe, we'll draw it. Let's check for the condition, or we'll check after updating it. So if pipe dot collide bird, let's say running is false, so we'll stop the game if it collide. Okay, we have missed to update it here. Let's use pipe cap, let's run it, and let's let it overlap with the pipe and see what happens. So you see, once it like overlap, it has ended. Okay, and we see an error here, like the pipe doesn't have any y, like y attribute. And why it is? Because here we have that pipe height but we don't have y. Let's call it y, so that it is y of like top pipe, and based on that only we'll do the calculations. So let's change it to y, this one also to y, and it should be fine. Now let's run it, and now let it collide. And yeah, now if you see, after collision it has stopped and we can exit it. Okay, so now we have the game, playable game. We'll not go and add more pipes here and make it more like complete Flappy game. Instead we'll go ahead and we'll start adding our AI.